all right, something is going on. I don't know if I have amnesia or if I'm forgetting things or if I'm just going crazy, but I just went to my college class. I went to my college class, I sat down, and I look at the professor, and the professor is completely different. It's a completely different teacher teaching a completely different class. He walks up there, he starts talking about like, all right, guys, today I'm going to be talking about Costa Rica. It's this like Indian guy with like a beard, and I'm like, who is this guy? I was like, okay, this is weird. So I start looking around, and the people in the class, I swear, are different. Like, I don't really know anyone in this class, right? So I kind of like just sit in like random spots, but I swear like the people are different than my normal class, right? Because there's some faces you just recognize every time, and I'm not seeing any of those faces who are there every single day. I'm just like, okay, this is weird. He's also teaching a completely different subject, and so logically, I'm like, okay, maybe I just walked into the wrong classroom. Okay, so like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna embarrassingly like get all my stuff, pack everything up, and like walk out. So that's what I do, right? It's a 300-person class. Keep in mind, it's like there's a ton of people in here, but to be honest, a lot of people skip these classes, so there's really like 100 people maybe. So I walk out, right, and I just sit down on a bench that I find, and I start looking up my class, like the announcements, maybe like look through my email. Maybe my teacher emailed me like, hey, class is canceled and stuff. But then I realized something, and I'm like, wait a minute. If class got canceled, then why would there be a different class teaching in place of our class? Like, the class would just be empty, right, if class got canceled. So I'm looking through my announcements, I'm looking through my email, and I have nothing. My professor has not said anything about like things being different, like things being weird. I'm like, okay, maybe like I walked into the wrong classroom, right? Because like I guess that could happen, even though like I go to the same place every single day. Like, it's a very consistent routine, right? Like, same time every other day or whatever, right? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, is it Tuesday? And I'm like, yeah, it's Tuesday. Okay, so I should have class today. And I look at the time, and I'm like, okay, the time is correct. And I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, what is happening right now? So I go over back to the class door, and I'm like looking at the number on the door, or the number. And I'm looking at the number, like, okay, like it aligns with what my schedule says I'm supposed to go to. And I'm like tripping myself out right now because I go to this classroom every Tuesday and Thursday, every single week, and I don't know what is going on. And I'm like, okay, I'm here on the right day, at the right time, so maybe this is my class, right? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, and like something will like come to fruition that will solve this problem for me. I'm so, okay, I guess so. I walk back into the class. I can see people kind of looking at me like, didn't this guy just like walk out of the class, right? I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on, so just like cut me some slack here. So I sit down in a different spot, right? I'm sitting down, and I'm, just kind of waiting for someone to solve this problem for me. But the teacher just keeps on talking about Costa Rica and talking about how like people think this place is a paradise, but really like there's pollution. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, this has nothing to do with my normal class that like I should be learning about. I'm like, okay, this is freaking weird. And I see some guy actually who walks in, another student. He walks in, he takes a look around the class, and he walks out just immediately. And I'm like, okay, I need to talk to this guy, right? Like, this guy knows something. This guy clearly is confused also. Let me go find this guy. So I get all my stuff again. I walk out of the class, okay? I find this guy, and I'm like, bro, do you know what is going on right now? Like, I don't, and he's like, yeah, like, I don't, that's not our class. Like, are you in, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, same class. Okay, like, what is happening right now, right? And we kind of, like, bond over that. And he's like, here, I'm going to text my friend. See if he knows what's going on, right? Because we're both, like, maybe we missed an announcement or something. Like, maybe, clearly, there's something that we're missing here, okay? So he texts his friend responds, oh no, I'm just not going today. So his friend has no answers. And this guy's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go study. Just doesn't even think anything twice about this. And I'm like, are you, I don't know what's happened. Like, I'm at a loss for words. Okay, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna go back to my apartment. Just not gonna sit in some random class, right? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, all right, go back to my apartment, and on my way back to my apartment, I have to walk through a parking lot, right? It just makes sense to cut through the parking lot. It's just a shorter route, right? I guess you could walk around the parking lot, but like that's just not, none of the students do that, right? Because there's a bunch of people who live in my apartment. Everyone cuts through the parking lot. This is what you do, right? So as I'm cutting through this parking lot, I do start to notice a couple things. I did notice that this was back when I walked out of class initially and started to walk back to my apartment. The whole campus was empty, and like there was nobody on the sidewalks, which I was like, okay, like, people are probably just in class. That kind of makes sense, right? But there were no cars on the road either. Like, normally there's always cars driving around the road, like the campus. There was no car, there was Nobody. And I was like, okay, it's kind of weird, but I guess maybe people are just in class. Kind of brushed that off. Right, so I get to this parking lot. I'm walking through the parking lot, and I don't know. Weird things are just happening. I don't know what's happening today. If today's, I don't. I would say it's one of those days, but like this has never even happened to me before. Right, so I'm walking through this parking lot, and I see there's a car that's on, and it's just, you can hear the engine humming. Right, so I don't really think anything of this, but then I remember when I was commuting myself to class initially, this car was running also. So I'm like, wow, this guy's been sitting in his car for a long time, right? And so I kind of like glance over at the car, like kind of peek through the driver's seat window, right? I'm about 5 or 10 feet from the car, very close to it, right? Just walking by, and there's no one in the car. And I'm like, did this guy just leave his car on and walk away? I'm confused. But like, then I'm like, wait a minute, but there's safety protocols in some cars, and this looks like a fairly new car, where if you walk away from the car and it's on, it'll start beeping at you or something. At least that's what my car does. I don't know. Maybe other cars don't do that. I'm like, what is happening? You know what I mean? I'm kind of like, I'm not freaking out, but I'm confused. And I'm really, really confused, right? So I kind of glance more closely at this car, like make sure, like, okay, is there really nobody in the car? And there's nobody in there. And this guy just left his car on, and it's just in the parking lot, and it's just on. Humming. I'm like, okay, so I just keep walking, right? And I don't know. I end up getting back to my apartment. I'm kind of freaking out, and one more thing happens that I don't know. I can't explain this one either. I go in the elevator. I go up to my certain floor. I walk out, and once you walk out of the elevator, right, you have two options. You can take a right or you can take a left. It's kind of like a hotel, right? Or like you can walk down the hallway down to the right or to the left, and there's apartment doors and everything, right? And so there's a guy walking towards me from the left, right? Right as I'm getting to this kind of intersection in the apartment, right? Now, it kind of all happens so fast because I just have my normal route to my apartment, right? So I go in, I take a right, and I'm walking to my apartment, and I notice kind of like my sensory, like my hearing and stuff, I can tell this guy who walked to the corridor, the intersection area from the left, he kind of stood there, and I can see out of the corner of my eye as I'm turning the corner that he takes a look at the left. He sees the stairway, right? He takes a look to his right. He sees the elevators, and by this time I'm turned the corner and I start walking, right? And I start to hear footsteps behind me, which makes no sense because the stairs are right there, the elevator's right there. Why is this guy following me? There's nowhere for him to go, like unless he's following me. You know what I mean? If he wants to leave the apartment, then he should go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's happening. So basically, I think this guy's following me, and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, okay, like a lot of weird things have just happened to me, and now this guy's following me behind me, and so I start speeding up, and I start hear footsteps. I swear his footsteps started like speeding up as well, and I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's just like, I don't know, he's trying to get somewhere fast, and he just is like happy that I'm speeding up, so he's speeding up so he can get there quicker. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't really make sense. Like, this guy's definitely following me. So I start speeding up a little freaking more, you know what I mean? And I start walking faster and faster, and I finally get to my apartment, and I open the door, and I slam it shut, and I lock the door. And now here I am. So yeah, I don't know what's happening today. It's been a weird day. I may not know if something weird is happening, but I know. Sorry,